what's up? I'm going to be looking at what kind of diets fertility doctors recommend, and then we'll see what diets the people who listen to these doctors actually follow.
There's a lot of research out there because people want to control what they can, and I'm a huge fan of this. And this evidence does suggest that diet is a modifiable factor of fertility, meaning there may be foods that you eat or you avoid that improve your odds of getting pregnant. Most of these studies are looking at fecundability. Fecundability is the probability of getting pregnant per cycle. This is one of the most finite metrics that we use because we're able to look at a per month basis and compare it to what we know to be averages. Some of this data also looks at IVF data, so patients undergoing fertility treatments. And I'm bringing it all together today to give you the summary of what you need to know. The take-home message is there's nothing shocking in here. The basic fertility diet is how we know to be healthy. What's healthy for your body is healthy for your eggs, is healthy for your uterus. Diet how you...
Yes, that's true. Of course, if you eat an unhealthy diet, then you will also become infertile. Sure, some foods are more likely to make you infertile. And if you eat pretty much any kind of seeds nowadays, you can expect glyphosate to be part of them. And of course, glyphosate has been proven to make you infertile, which means that if you eat typical grain products such as bread, cookies, pasta, then it's likely, incredibly likely, it's almost actually impossible that you're not consuming glyphosate and also other pesticides, herbicides, which will make you infertile.
And fruits and vegetables, whole grain carbohydrates.
Whole grain carbohydrates, yeah, exactly. Seeds, which are not even found in nature, essentially, which have been cultivated through monocropping. That's crazy. It's a crazy recommendation because it's insanely wrong. And the vegetables that we eat today are also not found in nature, meaning that humans never used to consume that before, and we never had problems with our fertility. We only do now. Most of the vegetables that you eat today have been around for some decades.
Limited in processed foods and sugars, limiting red meat and...
Limiting processed foods and sugars. If you're recommending a whole grains carbohydrate diet, then you're recommending a high sugar diet. Carbohydrates are sugar. She has no idea what she's talking about, I can already tell. And then she also lumps in processed foods with red meat, as if both are bad, even though red meat is exactly what makes you fertile. It helps you with your fertility. It's exactly what humans naturally consume. The less red meat you eat, the less likely it is that you're going to be fertile.
Increase in your plant-based protein sources. So I'm going to break this down.
Basically, she's recommending a plant-based diet. It's just absolutely the worst thing that you can do to become fertile.
The food group or type so we can hit the high points of what's been studied. And then I'm going to answer a few overall questions at the end of this video. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are a combination of fatty acids. They're the basic building block of our diet. They give us energy.
Wait, what did she say that carbohydrates are? What? Let me go back.
Hit the high points of what's been studied, and then I'm going to answer a few overall questions at the end of this video. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are a combination of fatty acids. They're the basic building.
Carbohydrates are a combination of fatty acids? Or did I misunderstand it? What is she talking about? I've never heard anybody say something like this.
Building block of our diet. They give us energy and they help us function. There's different type of carbohydrates, and whole grain or complex carbohydrates are harder for your body to break down. These carbohydrates are good for you.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Wait, and then they are good for you. They are harder to break down because it's unnatural food, it's seeds, but then that's good for you. Oh my God, this is the worst video I've seen when it comes to diet. Really one of the worst.
They are anti-inflammatory. They have
Whole grains are anti-inflammatory.
antioxidant properties, and they have been associated with a decrease in insulin resistance and an improved glucose sensitivity.
What? Most of the women who have problems with fertility have PCOS, really, which is essentially just insulin resistance anyway. At least that's where the problem comes from. The last thing that you should be doing is recommending whole grains, carbohydrates in general. They should be eating a pretty low-carb diet, not a ketogenic diet. but 50 to 100 grams, sometimes more.
Omega-3 fatty acids. Fat in the American diet has been such a faux pas. There was such an emphasis on low-fat foods for so long.
Yeah, and that's really what you're recommending also. Plant-based protein, limiting your red meat. Where exactly did you say that we should be eating fat?
That many of us grew up in an era of being ingrained in our brain that fats are bad for us. But that's not really the case. It depends on the type of fat. And there are good fats that are good for you, and there's bad fats that are not. Omega-3 fatty acids.
Yeah, the bad fats come from plants, seeds, seed oils, so-called vegetable oils.
Those are some of those good fats that are good for you. They are very antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. They can be found in foods such as fish, but also in walnuts, chia seeds, flax.
Yeah, I get what she's saying, the omega-3s, but from chia seeds and walnuts, you would have to convert them, which you can't do as a human. From natural wild-caught fish, yeah, you can get the omega-3s, but the best source is brain.
Generally, studies that look at omega-3 fatty acids look at intake of higher omega-3s versus other types of fats. And these studies look like there's improved across the board in reproductive.
Yeah, because they are at last eating animal fat if they eat fish. That's it.
What about plants? To truly be plant-based, you eat all plants and no animal products at all. No meat, no dairy, no eggs.
You're pretty much 100% going to become infertile if you do that.
No honey, none of it. However, I think of plant-based as you can eat a lot of plants, and that's still, if it's the basis of the majority of your diet, you can still be plant-based. Plant-based eating is good for reproduction across the board in different studies, in different circumstances.
Show me one study.
So by no level is eating plants bad for you. No data supports that. One of the largest studies...
No data supports that in general eating plants is bad for you? I'm going to link one study in the description. There's tons though.
So I tell everyone with PCOS, you really need to be plant-focused in your diet. Similarly, in IVF studies, so IVF, you're going to spend all the money in the world, you're going to go do IVF. Patients who ate more plants and had a lower intake of red meat had better embryo development. So if you're going to invest all the time...
Whoa, these recommendations are insane. The embryo is made out of red meat. That's exactly what you need. What do you think a human being is made out of? You're made out of raw red meat. You need a lot of vitamin A, which is of course going to come from liver if you want the best source, for a child to properly develop. It's not even really possible for a child to actually really develop if you're not getting enough vitamin A. It's so essential.
Money, emotional and physical energy into IVF, I certainly want you to know that studies support eating less red meat and more plants is going to...
I would really like to see any of these studies. It's just impossible.
...be better for your embryos. Now, why red meat? Like, why is that the bad guy that we pick on? Red meat is very interesting. Red meat has the highest levels of advanced glycation in products, has endocrine disrupting...
No, it doesn't. Oh, but she means cooked meat or processed meat, because it doesn't at all. Huh?
Chemicals, it has hormones in it. It's very...
Well, yes, you also have hormones inside of you. What kind of hormones? Hormones are good if it's natural hormones. The more hormones you produce, the more likely you're going to be pregnant.
Inflammatory to the body. So the foods that I said are good...
It cannot be inflammatory. Why would it be? She doesn't even give any reasons anyway. This video is crazy.
So far are all anti-inflammatory. Red meat is inflammatory.
No, red meat is anti-inflammatory. Why would raw red meat, I know that she's talking about cooked meat, cause any kind of inflammation in your body? Just give one reason. You can't. Of course, the plants, which are full of toxins, anti-nutrients, also artificial pesticides, herbicides, will cause inflammation in the body. Inflammation is your body's response to damage. What exactly is there in red meat, which you are made out of, that will cause damage to you? You couldn't possibly name anything.
Whether it's worsening stage of endometriosis, poorer embryo development in the lab, red meat consistently, the more you eat of it, the worse your...
I can only assume that they took processed garbage meat, and then that's how they equated to red meat. And it was linked anyway. It's just some correlation study. It has nothing to do with the red meat, obviously, but they just try to link it to that. There's just no way that there's any actual science behind anything she's saying.
are going to be. So I recommend that my patients trying to get pregnant just avoid it altogether if possible, or have it very, very sparing.
Oh my God, that's so crazy, man. This would be the perfect recommendation if you would want somebody to stay infertile, and then you can get money out of them because they will end up using IVF. If you want to make people unhealthy and infertile, that's great for a business.
What about soy? Soy gets like so many questions about it. Like soy's bad for you. There's this thought that since soy is a phytoestrogen that it's going to give men boobs and be really terrible. Nope, not true. Soy is not bad for you. It has not been associated with negative reproductive outcomes. And in fact, people who eat more soy.
The phytoestrogens bind to the cell receptors of real estrogen, meaning that you can't use real estrogen anymore. How could it possibly not be bad for your fertility? What kind of a stupid video is this?
Had both increased fecundity, so natural fertility, they got pregnant faster, and reproductive outcomes under fertility treatments.
Yeah, there you go. Just eat less red meat or no red meat at all. That's ideal. And eat soy. What could possibly go wrong? Humans were always fertile. Now we have the highest infertility rates in history. And people eat exactly that. They eat almost no red meat, a lot of soy, grains, and vegetables. You recommend exactly that, but expect a different outcome. Insanity, by definition.
Can you be vegan throughout your pregnancy? You certainly can. It's not going to harm you in any way, and there was...
In any way, oh my God. Eating a diet that's missing over 15 micronutrients isn't gonna harm you or your child. Totally nuts. Oh, so dangerous, such a dangerous doctor. So irresponsible. Oh.
A study done in the British Journal of OBGYN looking at vegetarian and vegan eating on maternal health outcomes. There were 22 papers that were reviewed in this study. Vegan vegetarian diets were considered safe. There was no birth effects or higher risk of maternal complications.
Why do all of the vegans then always complain about miscarriages and birth defects? Are there even any healthy vegan children out there? Some are doing okay-ish.
Or fetal complications. So if this is how you want to eat and you feel better, and you want to carry it through your fertility and your pregnancy, do it. Anybody who's vegan, you need B12.
Yeah, wait, what?
It's fortified in a lot of foods. You can also...
It's synthetic B12, it's fake.
Take a supplement with it. But if you're truly eating zero animal products, you may have a harder time of getting B12 into your...
Yeah, and 14 other nutrients, and really there's more. It's just over 50 nutrients that are not found in plants.
Diet, depending on what you eat. If you want more information on fertility, you can always follow the As a Woman podcast, where I go in depth.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. This video was way worse than I imagined. We're quickly going to check out another guy.
What about your diet? Is it important with your diet, which is obviously part of your natural fertility, to optimize things? Well, yes, of course it is. So we know high sugar, high cholesterol diets can create a lot of inflammation.
High cholesterol diets create inflammation. All of your cells are made out of cholesterol. But if you eat cholesterol, which you're made out of, then you will have a lot of inflammation. No, obviously not. Oh my God. But this is the problem when you have a processed cooked meat, so-called studies out there, not really anything scientific, but still, if you do take them seriously, you're only basing it on meat which is unhealthy as it is, seeing as it also comes from unhealthy animals, but then you also have all of the carcinogens that come along with cooking your meat. If they would, of course, test raw animal foods, then they wouldn't find any inflammation. They would understand that it's anti-inflammatory. I'm just almost speechless because cholesterol is an antioxidant. It fights inflammation. That's one of the main jobs of cholesterol, LDL specifically, because it transfers the cholesterol and protein and all kinds of chemicals to the places where there's any kind of damage. To call cholesterol an inflammatory chemical is so nuts. It's just so wrong.
Inflammation leads to oxidation of your sperm, and anytime you have
Yeah, that's why you need antioxidants, you need cholesterol. How can you just say the opposite of the truth?
a lot of oxidation, you're going to have poor quality sperm. So it's really important for the men and for the women, because it has the same impact on eggs, to maintain a healthy diet. Studies show that a Mediterranean diet filled with fresh grains, fresh fruit,
Fresh greens, vegetables, whether they have pesticides or not, and 99% of them will kill your sperm cells. Obviously, it's the job, essentially. It's because there's tons of plant defense mechanisms.
lean meats like chicken or fish will actually improve.
Again, lean meats, no fat. It's going to make you infertile. Animal fat is essential to become fertile. What do you not understand?
Improve your chances of conceiving compared to our typical Western diet, which is, more or less cheeseburger and fries all the time.
The Western diet is 70 to 80% plants. It's grains, vegetables, very little meat, and some kind of fake low-fat cheese. And the meat also has no fat. That's why people are sick and infertile. It's because we don't eat animal fat anymore. The only fat oils that we get are seed oils, vegetable oils. And if you want to call anything inflammatory, then that's it.
So make sure that you are observing a really healthy diet, because that actually can make a difference. There are many studies that show, in particular for women with PCOS, that even a small 5-pound weight loss can make a big difference in how often you ovulate and in your chances of conception. So that can be really critical as well.
Yeah, then you shouldn't be eating a lot of carbohydrates. You should keep your insulin low.
What's the number one thing you can do that will alter your natural fertility? So it's the big three: don't smoke, don't drink, and don't use drugs, including marijuana. So smoking has a huge...
It's funny because he recommends vegetables, greens, which have similar and many times the same kind of toxins as the cigarettes, the drugs, if he means weed. It really acts the same way in the body when it comes to making you infertile. Oh my God, both of these, the woman before and this guy, if you get advice from them, yeah, you're going to be infertile, 100%.
Negative impact. In some studies, as high as an 80%, that's 80% decrease in your chances of success. Damages the egg quality, increases your risks of miscarriage drastically.
It's just crazy because he mentioned smoking, alcohol, and drugs. Yeah, sure, you shouldn't do that. But then also recommends a horrible diet. But what's the number one thing which is going to decide if you're going to be fertile or not? It's diet, it's food. There's nothing more important. And if you don't eat a lot of animal fat, red meat, and organs, how are you going to be optimally fertile? You can't even be. Why do we have this infertility pandemic, essentially? Because of diets.
We are just getting back from our daily 3.5-mile morning walk. Welcome to a full day of eating fertility-friendly foods, but I really want to focus on foods that help the body go through IVF and the foods that help the IVF medications get absorbed.
All right, they are already doing IVF, taking medications for their hormones, most likely. That's typically what you will get from the doctor. And I will see what they eat, because these are the people who listen to doctors like this. That's why I wanted to give you an actual so-called real-life example of what these people eat.
Into the body a little bit easier. First thing in the morning, my lemon water. Normally I drink it warm, but because it's still summer.
Lemons every day are not good for your gut. They are too acidic.
And still really hot and I'm sweaty after the walk. I have been drinking it just room temperature. And lemon water really helps with digestion and bloating, especially first thing in the morning on an...
Yeah, if you're eating the wrong foods, of course, the acid could help you to break down whatever garbage you're consuming. If you're eating naturally, then you don't need it, obviously.
Empty stomach. Also, lemon water helps the IVF medications get absorbed into the body a little bit more readily. And it does take me a little bit to drink the lemon water because it's almost a liter. I make Josh and Yuma their eggs in the morning. And yes, Yuma also eats scrambled eggs.
She makes Josh and the dog eggs. Josh must be her husband. Okay.
This dog food, I know, so spoiled. Okay, on to my collagen coffee. Yes, I'm still drinking my collagen coffee every
Coffee is really bad for you. It has toxins such as caffeine, which I'm sure you know about, and theobromine also. Pretty potent toxins, deadly in large amounts. Obviously, for your fertility, terrible.
single morning, but I do measure out my dairy-free creamer because I can overdo it pretty easily. And now I'm measuring out exactly 1 cup of coffee because coffee and caffeine are not great for fertility. So I am limiting myself
Oh, okay, at least she understands that, but then still she consumes it.
to only 1 cup in the morning, which is really sad because I want at least 2 cups. Collagen is so
Just eat naturally, then you won't need anything.
good for hair, skin, and nails, just overall beauty.
Yeah, real collagen from raw animal foods, not some powder which you put into boiling water and destroy it anyway.
And health, and 2 scoops equals 18 grams of protein, which is fantastic. So you get 18 grams of protein right off the bat very easily in your morning joe. Now for my breakfast, I'm going to have a Vans gluten-free blueberry.
Oh my god. She makes the eggs for the husband and the dog. The dog eats better than her. And then she eats grain waffles, grain sludge, baked into a waffle form and then put into a toaster. Yes.
Waffle, and I did want to show you guys the back. I want to show you guys the ingredients. They're really not that unhealthy for you, but I wanted.
What are you talking about? Rice flour, potato starch, there's for sure glyphosate in there, which they won't name, of course. Why do they not do that? Well, it's pretty understandable why. Sunflower oil, I just f off. What the fuck are you doing, man?
Touch on the fact that these waffles use expeller pressed canola oil. Most vegetable oils are highly processed.
Man, what does it matter? Canola oil is so toxic. You cannot even be fertile when you consume anything that has canola oil in it.
And so extremely inflammatory to our bodies, so not good for fertility at all. So canola oil is normally considered highly inflammatory, but expeller pressed is the exception because instead of using chemicals to extract the canola oil from the plant, they use a high pressured machine to extract the oil, making
It's oil from a plant. What do you not understand? It's oil from a plant. It's unnatural. It doesn't exist in nature. It's toxic. It's bad.
it a lot better for us. I still try to limit vegetable oils, even if they say expeller pressed, but
Yeah, you need to be eating a lot of animal fat, but you're probably afraid because of the stupid doctors.
just know this is a much better option. Other vegetable oils to avoid
This is not even food.
if you don't see the word expeller pressed in front of them are cottonseed oil, vegetable oil, rapeseed oil, and safflower oil. There's a few others that I think I'm forgetting, but just try to limit the vegetable oils in general because they're highly inflammatory to our bodies. The exception is if it says expeller pressed. Just thought I would share that little tidbit of information in case you guys didn't know. I did put some of my homemade cashew butter on the waffle and drizzling some honey.
Yeah, because she craves fat, but she doesn't allow herself to eat what she actually wants to eat. Why did she not eat the eggs with her husband and the dog? I don't get that. The eggs would be the perfect fertility food. What do you think an egg is? It's a potential chicken or whatever kind of egg it is. What else could you possibly need for fertility if you're eating fertility itself, essentially? It's just as if common sense has been completely removed from humans today. Instead, she eats grain sludge with cashew butter.
For some sweetness. Normally I use agave, but I'm out of.
You have grain sludge with grain sludge on top of it, but you give the fertility foods to your husband, which is good, of course. He also needs to be fertile. Raw eggs would be better. And to your dog. Who are you trying to make pregnant here? Your husband and your dog or yourself?
Agave this time. Now on to my workout. Today's leg day, so I'm warming up with my booty band. If you guys are interested in my
stress is super bad for you. Okay, I get it. She probably wants to lose some weight, but if you would eat naturally, then you would lose your weight. If you're eating grain sludge full of carbohydrates, which spikes your insulin like crazy, then how can you lose weight? You're going to have PCOS, you're going to be infertile, insulin resistant. You have to be. You have to be. You cannot not be.
I'm doing breakfast for lunch today, and I am making my fertility bowl, my oatmeal fertility bowl. And if you
Oh my god, she's What the fuck is going on in this video? I can't. Fertility ball, oats, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck, man?
See my cell phone in the video, it's because I'm recording the reel for it for my Instagram. That's already up on my Instagram, so if you want to see exactly how I make my fertility bowl that's oatmeal specific, go to my Instagram.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Before starting this video, all of them, I didn't know that it's going to be this bad, the recommendations. Why am I surprised? People are incredibly dumb and brainwashed. I should have known. But to call that a fertility bowl when it's literally an infertility bowl is nuts. You're doing the opposite of what you're supposed to. You should be eating a lot of eggs, butter, liver, brain, fatty red meat, and instead you eat grains. Grains. No nutrients. Over 15 micronutrients missing. Really, grains have nothing. There's over 30, 40, 50, whatever missing. It just has nothing. Whatever you can think of, it's missing in oats. And then you're eating a bunch of carbohydrates. So it's like you're eating candy. You're eating candy full of glyphosate and anti-nutrients and toxins. It's the same, because grains only have carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are sugar. So it's like candy with toxins. And then you want to become fertile and you call it a fertility bowl. Sugar with toxins is a fertility bowl. I completely brain dead.
Blueberries are a fertility superfood because they have tons of antioxidants to help fight inflammation.
Oh my god, the antioxidants are there to protect the plants. Also, blueberries are insanely sprayed.
Especially when...
And then you put it in a microwave. A microwave. What the fuck is going on in this video, man?
Going through IVF, as the IVF meds are pretty harsh on the body, causing a ton of inflammation. And
oh my god, you literally don't even need any meds, man. Oh, you need to eat naturally. What is wrong with people?
Cinnamon is really good for inflammation as well.
Oh, cinnamon is insanely toxic. What the fuck is wrong with you people?
Next, I'm going to be adding some chia seed, which is another superfood for fertility because it's high in omega-3 fatty acids, which are essential for fertility health. So studies have shown that women who eat lots of omega-3s have much better fertility. So most nuts and seeds are really high in omega-3s, especially flaxseed. Sometimes I'll add flaxseed instead of chia seed because that's very high in omega-3s. But fish like salmon, sardines are really high in omegas. I'm adding some walnuts here because walnuts are really high in a specific type of omega-3 fatty acid, which is called ALA, and ALA is really good at improving egg quality. I'm adding dates because dates are really high in iron, and iron is of course important to help build uterine lining. Also, goji berries are really high in iron, as well as raisins and figs.
She's kidding. Oh, I get it. It's a joke. It's a parody. Oh my god, I thought that this video was serious. Now I get it. It's a joke video. Oh, I get it. You're making fun of people who eat this way. Oh, thank God. Because nobody can believe that there's a lot of iron in goji berries, which is not heme iron, or call oats a fertility bowl. It has to be a joke. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's a joke video, okay.
So you can utilize those dried fruits for their iron. I realized I needed a little more...
It's funny, yeah. Thanks.
Protein with this meal, so I finally decided to have my eggs. Now, eggs are great for fertility because when you think about it, they have all the nutrition a chicken needs to grow. So
yeah, exactly, literally, yeah.
They have lots of nutrition for us humans to grow a human. Plus, they're really high.
Okay, it's a real video, I guess. But yeah,
and protein is one of the macronutrients that I struggle getting in, and I think most people struggle getting in enough protein a day. So eggs is a really delicious, easy source of protein.
Yep, they are delicious, exactly, yeah, because it's natural human food.
And I just want to remind you guys of the importance of buying your eggs pasture raised.
Should be the other way around. Well, really, there should be no other bowl, but if anything, the bowl should be full of eggs, and then if you want to eat it garbage, there should be very little of it. But she eats very little eggs, and then a bunch of seeds with pesticide-ridden fruits, which will make you infertile, obviously.
They're going to be a lot healthier for you, a lot more nutrient dense. So this is actually the next morning, and I meant to do this yesterday, but totally ran out of time with the whole fence situation, and I was really missing my greens yesterday. But I do want to show you how I make my green juice, and it's my favorite green juice I've ever made so far. I've been trying out a few different recipes. This is by far my favorite. Of course, using fertility-friendly veggies, using my...
There are no fertility-friendly veggies. What is wrong with these people? I was going to say, where do they learn this? We know where they learn this, but it's very, very hard for me to come to terms with it, that this is actually what people believe is going to make them fertile. It's very hard for me to admit that people are this brainwashed and dumb, that they're doing the so-called opposite of what they're supposed to do. It's just really crazy to me. She's going to use some toxic green leaves, which make you infertile, full of anti-nutrients, naturally occurring toxins, artificially also, such as the pesticides, and then a lot of fruits with sugar to cover up the horrible taste. It says everything.
My new juicer Josh got for me for my birthday. I absolutely love it. It's so easy to use and clean. It is the best. Josh got...
For her birthday, Josh should have gotten her a big fat sheep.
It off Amazon, and I can put a link down below if you guys are interested in purchasing it. And it wasn't really that expensive, but it's around $300, $400 mark because it is a cold press juicer, so it doesn't use heat to extract the juice. I love my green juice because most mornings I don't feel like drinking a bulky smoothie. It's much easier for me to drink a juice and get all the nutrition in from the veggies that way instead of drinking like a fibrous drink first thing in the morning. And
yeah, because nobody wants that. Nobody wants fiber. It's indigestible. That's why it's coming out the other end, kind of like it would be in your own body.
I only drink 8 ounces every morning just right after my lemon water to get in lots of vitamins and minerals first thing. Kale and spinach are high in iron.
What vitamins or minerals?
And iron is really important in fertility, of course, as I already mentioned.
Oh my God, you're crazy. The iron is not even absorbable. It's not what humans use. We need heme iron. You get it from meat. She doesn't even eat any meat. The fuck is wrong with these people? She's infertile. She doesn't eat almost any animal foods, no meat from what I've seen. Grain sludge with grain sludge over it and toxic green vegetables. And then she's surprised that she's infertile. Wow.
To build uterine lining. Quite a few people have asked me if I'm worried about the juice spiking my blood sugar, especially first thing in the morning. And my answer is no, because I'm only drinking 8 ounces of it. But
it looks like she did end up having a baby around 2 years later through IVF, of course. It's the only way that people who eat unnatural food can get pregnant. Of course, also only unnaturally, because your whole life is unnatural. And then, of course, the baby can never turn out to be healthy if you're consuming such garbage. You're really just creating a life full of suffering for the baby, because the baby is going to end up being sick and underdeveloped. It has to be like that, because if you do not become pregnant naturally, then it means that you shouldn't be pregnant. Naturally, nature is telling you that your body is not ready. And if you then still become pregnant artificially, then the child will be unhealthy. But these people don't get it. They still end up ruining the lives of their children just because they themselves want to be pregnant. I get it. It's natural. You want to have children. Totally. It's the most normal thing on earth. But you gotta do it naturally. If you can't get pregnant naturally, then you shouldn't be doing it. This was really painful to watch. Because of the first doctor, I could already not really take it anymore. The second one wasn't any better. And then when I saw what these people actually eat who are influenced by the doctors, then it almost killed me, as you could probably see. I could really hardly take it, watching these people eat such garbage, such unnatural food, calling these infertility bowls fertility bowls. They actually truly believe that this unnatural food will help them with becoming fertile. Even if you ignore the so-called naturally occurring toxins and anti-nutrients in seeds, then you should at least be aware of the glyphosate, all of the pesticides and herbicides, which are artificial, but for sure part of most of the meals that the slaves consume today. But no, she just doesn't get it at all. I just couldn't even imagine much of a worse diet. if you want to stay infertile, it would have been worse if she wouldn't have consumed the eggs. That was the only good part of this infertility diet. But I didn't see any meat at all. Really, no animal fat besides the eggs. It has to make you infertile. It cannot not do it. If you eat this way, the outcome will be infertility for a man and a woman. For whatever reason, the man eats better from what we saw, the eggs. Even the dog eats better. But for her, for whatever reason, which is most likely because of the doctors, she chooses the worst diet possible. She's just been brainwashed. Her mind has been manipulated. Crazy. Actual insanity. Thanks for watching.